So in 2016, a novel named Radio Silence was published by Alice Oseman. Alice Oseman's debut novel was Solitaire, and then she published Radio Silence. And since then, it became a sensation. Wanna know why? Then keep watching. So the story is about a girl named Frances, and she is a great student. She is in fact at the top of her class. She is this anxious girl who takes her school and studies way too seriously. Why? Because she wants to get into a good college and have a stable career. So that's why she tries to fit that perfect topper girl role of hers. But, she is not only good at school, but drawing too of the characters of this podcast she listens to, named University. So that kind of works as her escape. As for University, it is this sci-fi podcast which is actually really cool. So when University's narrator contacts her to draw drawings for his podcast, her life changes forever. Now you'll have to read this novel to know how her life changes because there are many ups and downs in this novel. And they are really amazing. Now let me tell you some of the most striking features of Radio Silence. The first thing is the characters. So Frances, Elid, Daniel are the characters I could relate with the most. And I'll tell you why. Because I already told you that Frances is a study machine. And I think that most of us have felt that pressure of getting good grades and having a successful career. And that's what makes her relatable. And Elid, well, he is also stuck in this cycle of doing something he doesn't want to, but he's forced to become someone he's not. So how can someone not like him? Then about Daniel. He's actually the one I connected with the most when it comes to education, because Daniel actually wants to get into college and he actually cares about getting in because that's all he has got. Then we have got Caris, Elid's older sister, and Rain, and they are so amazing. They are fearless. Now the second amazing thing about this novel is its theme. I'm sure you have faced these situations where you're forced to become someone you're not. And why should we? Trying to become someone else just amplifies anger, despair, and self-hatred. And in the end, you start to hate not only yourself, but everyone around you. So just be yourself. Next thing you should know is the language. So the language is really simple. It's not at all dramatic. So if you're just starting out with reading as a hobby, you can check it out because you will not get bored with the way it's written. Now another plus point which I would like to tell you about this novel is the relationship component of this novel. So this novel is perfect when it comes to relationships. And this can be summed up by the line, "I think everyone's a bit bored with boy-girl romances anyway," he said. I think the world's had enough of those, to be honest. This is why I love this book so much. There is a little romance, but that is not the highlight of this novel. Also, this novel talks about being bisexual, about being agender, about being gay. But I love the fact that Alice Oseman decided to go for this because we truly are bored with the same old traditional boy meets girl stories. Great work. A must read. So these were some of the most amazing things about Radio Silence, but personally there were some issues too that I faced with Radio Silence. So the first thing is the age factor. I think I would have been able to connect with this novel a bit more if I were a little young, because I felt like I'm past that time when I used to do something I hate, that is math. And not only me, but all of us have to take decisions based on the practicality of the idea or because you want to listen to your heart. You should definitely try this book out and always remember, if something feels right, do it. Now the second thing is the language. And again, this is just something which is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree. So I felt like the language of this novel is a bit too simple. I think that maybe if the language of this novel was a little more mature, then that would have made a huge impact on the book overall. So you can check out the language yourself and then decide if you want to read this novel or not. That evening, I was going to get home and I was going to make a coffee and have a slice of cake. And then I was going to go upstairs and sit on my bed and listen to the latest episode of University. University was this YouTube podcast show about a suit-wearing student detective looking for a way to escape a sci-fi, monster-infested university. Nobody knew who made the podcast. It was the voice of the narrator that got me addicted to the show. It has a kind of softness. It makes you want to fall asleep in the least weird way possible. It's a bit like someone stroking your hair. That was what I was going to do when I got home. Now, the final issue that I faced with Radio Silence is that the plot was not properly constructed. So there's a car trip scene, like the one in Paper Towns, but after that scene, the rising action didn't reveal something in a grand way. But the plot kind of flatlined. So if I put it in simple words, the end wasn't like, oh my god, I did not see that coming. It was more like, yeah, okay, this was what was supposed to happen. Then there was a very detailed scene in the end of the novel, very dramatic. So after all that chaos caused at the station, I was like, where the hell is the security? If it were me, some officer would have tackled me amidst a very crowded station. But here they're doing some very cringy monologues and nobody is here to stop them. Great. But seriously, I think that was a little too dramatic, but it's still a good book, especially if you are 13 to 17 years old, give or take. But the theme is actually very good and important to be understood by everyone. And do read Radio Silence because you will definitely learn a few things about how you should live your life. It will guide you through your tough times, so just give it a read. Hello everyone, how are you? How was your weekend? So this is what I think about Radio Silence. I will rate this book 4 stars out of 5 stars. But that is mostly because I couldn't feel myself connect with it much. Because I'm more like Daniel, but maybe you'll like this novel. If you're reading it like in high school, where you have to decide whether it's going to be your parents' choice of a stream or yours. So it's a great novel if you're stuck in that kind of situation. It will give you a great perspective that you don't have to do something you don't like. Now, this doesn't mean that if you can focus on your studies because at the back of your mind you're thinking about that Korean drama that you were watching earlier, then you should just give up studies. No. Just see what you're passionate about and do that with all your heart. That's what this book is about. So let me know, what do you think about this novel? Have you already read it, or are you going to read Radio Silence? What are your views about it? Let me know in the comment section below. Hope this video helped you, and subscribe now. It's free. Just take your index finger and gently press it on the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to like this video, and I'll see you all next time.